Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Ma ba'd. The question is asking about making wudu, but he has an injury on a part of his body which needs to be washed or wiped. I mean, this is an injury on a limb, on a part of his body that needs to be washed for the purpose of wudu, and it applies to ghusl as well. What we're going to say. What does he do in that scenario? Now, the majority of the ulama have said the asl is washing. If you are able to wash, then you must wash. فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ until the end of ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah. If the person is not able to wash, then he moves to wiping, and this is the view of the majority. And the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said in this hadith, we're going to go back to this hadith later on, فَإِذَا وَجَدْتُ الْمَاءَ فَأَمِسَّهُ جِلْدَكَ. Make sure water then touches your skin. So what they have said from this is that if the person is able to wash, then they should wash. If the person is not able to wash, then they must wipe. Right. What do you do now in a scenario where your body is exposed? It's not in a cast. If it's in a cast, then the ulama have said, then you can't do anything. You wipe over the cast. But there's a mistake that some people make, is that if they've got a cast or a bandage on their body, such as a cast on their arm, for example, then you must make sure that you wipe over all parts of it. Quite often when we wipe over our socks, we just wipe over one part of the sock. But when we're talking about wiping over a bandage or a cast, then you have to make sure that you wipe over all parts. Okay? So now that is included in wiping. That's what we move on to stage 2 if you're not able to wash. But what if you're not able to wash or wipe? What if your body is exposed, the limb is exposed and it's injured, and you can't put water on it because it's going to cause infection, or it's going to delay recovery, etc.? What do you do in that scenario? Then the ulama have said that the person makes wudu normally, and for the area that he is not able to wash or wipe over, then he does tayammum. And it's based on this hadith here that we've just mentioned here. This is found in the Sunan, authority of Jabir. The Messenger of Allah said, "As-sa'idu tayyib wudu Muslim." The earth is tayyib, the earth is good, the earth is cleansing, and is the wudu and the purification of the Muslim. وَإِن لَمْ يَجِدْ الْمَاءَ عَشْرَ سِنِينَ. Even if he doesn't find water for 10 years, he can carry on doing tayammum. فَإِذَا وَجَدْ الْمَاءَ. If you do then find water, فَأَمِسَّهُ جِلْدَكَ. Then make sure that you wash with it or you wipe with it, etc. From this, the Hanabila and the Shafi'iyya have said you combine wudu and ghusl, or should I say wudu and or ghusl with tayammum. As for the Hanafis and the Malikis, they have said, listen, if you can't do wudu, then you just move on to tayammum. If you can't wash any part of your body, then you just do tayammum. Then now you've got an excuse. But what seems to be the correct view, and this has been narrated to be the view of some of the companions also, is that if the person is able to wash some aspects but not able to wash other aspects, then he washes whatever he can, such as the wudu, such as in ghusl, and then he makes tayammum once he finishes. So say for example the person's got an injury on his face and he's not able to wash it, he's not able to wipe it. So he begins the wudu as normal, washing the hands, the mouth and the nose if he's able to do that. As for the face, he skips that bit, then he goes onto the arms, then he does must over the head, and then he does his feet, and then his wudu or his ghusl is then completed. What does he then do? Then he does tayammum. What's tayammum? I mean, the description of tayammum you can probably find on my channel as well. But basically, you get earth on your hands. You have to be earth which is going to stick to your hands. You wipe left over right, right over left, and then over your face. Some of them say the other way around, but I mean, this is the way that has been narrated from the majority of the ulama. Left over right, right over left, and then the face. Some of them say you do face first. But we're not going to go into the description of tayammum just yet. And like I said, I think there's a video on the channel for that. So what you do is you do the wudu as normal. You do the ghusl as normal, and the bit that you've skipped out, you do tayammum in its place. But the question is asking here now, okay, say I've done the wudu, and I've done the tayammum. Now I've put on some socks. Now his injury is on his feet. Can he now wipe over his socks? Now this is the issue where the scholars have differed. When you do tayammum, is that a rafi' or is it a mubih? In English, when you have done tayammum, are you actually in a state of purity, just like washing? Or is it a mubih? Is it something which is temporarily allowed because of the fact that you don't have access to water? The majority of the ulama have said a tayammum is a mubih. And because of that, they have said if you've got socks on, even if they're khuf, you can't wipe over them. Because wiping over your feet is only after washing, and you haven't washed. Therefore, you have no excuse now to wipe. Others from the ulama, this is the view of the Zahiriyya, they have said that it is a rafi', and now you become tahir. You are tahir as if you did wudu or ghusl if you've done tayammum. There's no difference. And because of that, if the person then puts on his sock, then he is able to wipe over his sock. For me, I think that seems to be the more sound view. However, let's stick with the majority and say that you can't wipe over your socks after you've done tayammum. So this is basically the masala. Can you wipe over your socks after you've done tayammum? The answer is no. And this is the view of Uthaymeen rahimahullah also. And to be honest, in our scenario here, it doesn't make much of a difference, because what this person is doing, he's going to do the wudu, and then he's going to do tayammum. What he's asking, do I do wudu and then wipe over my socks? Obviously, a little bit of inconvenience, a little bit different, because he'll have to carry some earth with him, or he'll have to do it at home, whatever it might be. But it doesn't change much, because essentially he's not touching his feet either way. So that's that in this scenario. But here are the masail. And like I said, there is a lot more detail that we've not been able to go over through here. But these are just certain principles as to what a person should do if he finds himself in this situation. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives recovery for all those people who are suffering with some kind of illness, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes this as an expiation for them, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purifies our internal as well as our external. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على محمد.